Have you ever felt just totally overwhelmed by your money? Like you're working hard, but you're just not getting ahead? Trust me, you are not alone. So today, we're going to break down the simple, no-nonsense plan from one of the biggest names in personal finance, Dave Ramsey. Let's get right into his plan step by step.
This is how Dave Ramsey puts it, that feeling of financial dread. It's sitting at the kitchen table, just staring at a pile of bills with way too much month left at the end of the money. It's that knot in your stomach when you even think about the future. But what if there was a clear path out of those weeds?
So, where do you even start? Well, before we get to any of the how-to steps, Ramsey says you have to start with the real problem. He argues that the biggest thing standing in the way of your financial success isn't the economy, it's not your boss, and it's not even the math. It's the person staring right back at you from the mirror. He talks about this as the turning point. That moment where the frustration just boils over and you finally decide enough. That feeling, Ramsey believes, is the real starting line, because winning with money isn't really about what you know, it's all about what you do.
Okay, so think about it. What percentage of financial success do you think comes from just knowing what to do? Ramsey has a very specific and honestly kind of surprising answer. He says it's only 20%. So what about the other staggering 80%? Well, that comes down to something else entirely.
Behavior. Yep, that's his core belief. Personal finance is 80% behavior and only 20% head knowledge. This isn't about some complex Wall Street formula. It's about your habits. And his conviction on this, it comes from a place of really painful personal experience.
To really understand the plan, you kind of have to understand the man. See, Dave Ramsey wasn't some academic sitting in an ivory tower. His advice was forged in the fire of a personal and pretty spectacular failure.
The scale of his journey is just staggering. At 26, he was a millionaire with a $4 million real estate portfolio. But he'll be the first to tell you he built that empire on a house of cards, all debt. And when the bank called his loans, the whole thing came crashing down. He and his young family lost everything. It was right there at rock bottom that he set out to figure out how money really works.
And this is why his plan resonates with millions of people. It's not just a collection of abstract ideas. It's a real-world, battle-tested system that was created by somebody who has been through financial hell and actually found a way out.
Okay, so what is this proven plan? Well, it all boils down to 5 core, actionable tips that really form the foundation of his entire philosophy. This is the how-to part of the financial makeover. First things first, the budget. Ramsey says a budget isn't a straitjacket, it's actually your permission to spend. It's you telling your money where to go instead of scratching your head and wondering where it went. He's a huge fan of the zero-based budget, where every single dollar of your income gets assigned a job. So your income minus your expenses equals 0. And you always start by covering your 4 walls, the absolute necessities, before a single dollar goes anywhere else.
Next up is what Ramsey is probably most famous for, getting out of debt. His method, the debt snowball, actually goes against a lot of conventional financial wisdom, and that's because it's not about the math, it's all about psychology and momentum. Now, the typical math-focused approach says you should pay off your highest interest rate debt first. Ramsey knows this, but remember, he argues personal finance is only 20% math and 80% behavior. The debt snowball is designed for behavior. You list your debts from smallest to largest, ignoring the interest rates. You make minimum payments on everything, but you go after that smallest debt with everything you've got. Getting that first debt knocked out gives you a quick, powerful psychological win. Then, you take that entire payment you were making and you roll it onto the next smallest debt. This creates a snowball effect of motivation and momentum that makes you want to keep going.
This is one of his classic catchphrases, and it's deceptively simple. Live on less than you make. It means resisting that constant urge to keep up with the Joneses, because as Ramsey loves to say, the Joneses are broke. It's really about ignoring all that social pressure and just focusing on your own financial peace.
Ramsey asks, when you're broke, isn't everything an emergency? So his solution is this two-phase safety net. You start by saving a $1,000 starter emergency fund. This is for life's little hiccups, like a flat tire, so they don't completely derail your progress. Then once you're out of debt, you build that up to a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. This is your shield against the big stuff, like a job loss, making sure you never have to go back into debt again. And finally, once you've built that solid foundation, you're debt-free with a full emergency fund, it's time to build some serious wealth. The goal here is to consistently invest 15% of your gross income into tax-advantaged retirement accounts. This is where you let what Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest, do all the heavy lifting for you, turning your consistent contributions into a really secure future. So those are the steps. But notice how they all hinge on that 80-20 rule, right? They aren't just financial tactics, they require a pretty fundamental mindset shift, which Ramsey captures in one really powerful idea.
This is the deal you make with yourself. You choose to make sacrifices now that most people just aren't willing to make. Sticking to a budget, maybe working extra, saying no to things. And the payoff? Later on, you'll be able to live and give in ways that most people can only dream about. It's all about short-term intensity for long-term freedom.
So ultimately, Ramsey's plan isn't some secret formula. It's a roadmap to take back control. It's a shift from letting your money manage you to you managing your money. And that whole journey, it always starts in the exact same place, by confronting that person in the mirror.
So the final question is for you. Whether it's sitting down to write your first budget, listing out your debts, or just deciding you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, what's the one action you can take today to start your own financial makeover?